Welcome back. We're doing resumption on the training. So for this part, we're going to cover introduction to network recorder. So we did some time back, we did a introduction to network recorder, but for this case, we're going to do introduction to network recorder products. So last time it was more for HDD information, compression technology, AI functions of the recorder. But for this case, it's more of the products that we have as recorders, Dahua. So by the end of the session, the objectives are you should be able to know the series that we have as recorders in Dahua. We know the features of each different recorders, understand the difference between one series and the other, and get to know more details on the recorders that we have. We'll check the product naming overview. Then, so the slide is not that long; it's short. For the recorder side, we have in the IP section we have NVR, we have and AVS. So an IVSS is like a high-end version of NVR. So if you have an AVSS, it's like NVR on steroids. So IVSS is better, is the high end, then you go back to NVR version, then go back to, so EVS is for storage, general NVR. So we have six series, 5 series, 4 series, 2 and 1. For the high end products for the NVR, we have these ones. You can see this, the distinguishing I at the end. So this I here is for the intelligent aspect. So we'll get to know what is the capability for the models with the I at the end section, at the end of the name. Generally, an EVS, we have 2 series. We have 5 and 7. EVS is used for storage. These slots are HDD slots. So for this case, we have this one is a 24 bay HDD. We have 48, even up to 60 bay HDD. The naming rule for network recorders is as below. So if you see the DHI prefix is the brand Dahua. The NVR is the network video recorder. Remember, we also have DVR, but for this one's for IP case. So NVR is the network video recorder. The number beginning the first is the solution. Then the second value will be the number of hard disks the device supports. So we have device supporting from 1 to 16 HDD for the NVR case. After the HDD, we have the channels, the number of channels the device supports. So you have even up to 128 channel devices. Then for the case, for H is the case. So this case value here will help you to know whether you can mount the NVR in a rack or not. So we have case 2U, 3U. So depending on the rack that you have, you can use this identification value to know which products you need. So at times some clients want NVR that can be mounted on their racks. So the P will be the PoE. W, those are NVRs which support Wi-Fi. R is RAID. So for this case, if we are checking at, okay, we'll check some product later. 4K resolution, the output resolution for the HDMI, generation, S2 and other features. So the naming rule for NVR is quite simple compared to other naming rule like IPC or thermal camera or PTZ or speedoms. Naming rule for the IVSS. So series for IVSS, most of them are 7, begin with 7. So series 7 is Skylake generation. number of hard disk. So the same way you'd have the second number remaining number of hard disk is the same that you will, so hard disk even up to 24 HDD for IVSS. Power. So if you have a redundant power for IVSS, means that it has 2 power slots where you can connect 2 power cables. VR LCD plus redundant power, or null. So if you null, you only have one power module. Also, for the last value will be the number of AI channels or AI modules the device supports. So the last naming rule will be for the EVS. So we have EVS 5 and 7. The 5 is running on Intel Celeron, while the other is running on Intel Ivy Bridge. So for the generation, I think this is something that you can be checking on. You can check on yourself on your side. So for the NVR, we have AI functions. The same way we have AI functions for the cameras, we have AI functions on the NVR. That's why at times you might do facial recognition on a camera and doing facial recognition on an NVR. So we have AI functions like FR on NVR. We have functions like video metadata. So remember what is video metadata is classifications of objects based on their characteristics. We have a perimeter protection. So you can have a normal camera at the front end and do perimeter protection from the NVR side. We have even SMD plus. So remember we talked about this SMD plus yesterday for the 3 series cameras to 7 series cameras. We have alarm push and AI search. So alarm push is more of forwarding of alarm information to the monitoring side. For the IVSS AI products family. So remember, when we're talking about AI products, we're talking about products with the postfix of I in the naming. So if you see IVSS, all of these have -I. So the products family for the AI products family include IVSS 7 series with the I, IVS NVR 5 series with the I at the end, or WizSend series of 4 for series 2 with the I. So the importance of an for the IVSS case or IVSS with the I series, we have facial recognition, perimeter protection, metadata, about 400 Mbps incoming bandwidth, maximum 128 channels input, or 20 channels at 1080p, that's at 2 megapixels decoding. So a maximum of 512 Mbps incoming bandwidth. So also while doing calculation for your cameras and knowing which bandwidth is required, it's good to know what's the intake performance for the network card of the devices before purchasing them. So for the AI family of the NVR 5 series, we have a facial recognition, perimeter protection, metadata, SMD plus, and a speed of maximum of 320 Mbps. So from this 320 Mbps, you can judge for yourself how many megapixels camera you can run at maximum to avoid those lags and those dragging in the videos. So apart from the AI functions, for this case, this one has 8 PoE. So the ePoE technology is also employed in the AI series. The ePoE technology is the technology where you have a cable running, not using just the 100 meters Cat6, Standard, you have cameras installed even more up to 800 meters, and you have NVR from this side powering the camera at 800 meters. So with Sense 4 series, for the certification purposes only, just know that which one is AI, how many PoE ports does this naming rule has. Like this one has 16 PoE because of the 16P. How many channels it has? It has 16 channel. How many hard disks? 4 hard disks. So for series, 4 hard disks, 32 channel, and it's an AI without PoE. So for the AI family series, we have FR, all of them support FR. So you can have facial detection on the camera. You can have only camera that supports face detection, then do facial recognition on the NVR. This for the cost cases. So for products performance, for face recognition, so for the IVSS 7 series, you can do a maximum of 8 channels video stream face recognition. So this means you have 8 FR cameras connected to this. So maximum of 8 FR and maximum 20 channels picture stream face recognition with 1 AI card. So maximum 20 channels support picture stream face recognition. This is for 20 face detection cameras and maximum 20 pictures per second processing with 1 AI card. So if you're having a NVR 5 series, you can do maximum of 4 channels video stream face FR and 16 FD. So I hope that is clear. For 2 series, you can do only 1 face recognition camera and 8 face detection. So for database cases, also the higher the product, the high-end family product, the better the storage ability and etc. So if you're going to do perimeter protection with the IVSS, you can support up to 16 channels with 1 AI card. So you see from the naming rule, you can see from the, sorry. So if you see 4 AI modules, well, some has 1 AI module or 4 AI. If you see 4 AI modules, meaning if you're going to do 16 per AI, 16 channels with 1 AI card, if it has 4 AI card, just do multiple of that, 4 times 16, get the result. So SMD Plus is not supported with the IVSS, this series. Okay, maybe this information that you can be using while doing checking on products that you have, maybe BOQ. If you're doing a BQ, you can use this list as a reference point before suggesting products to customer. So how does FR works with the recorders? So if the way FR works with the recorders is you have an existing database stored in the recorder. Then from the FD side front end, it will just take pictures. The NVR will do the analysis, then compare the pictures and give you an output. I think we saw a demonstration video on the same on AI face recognition before, a while back. So, and also apart from facial recognition, we can do alarm based on blacklist, alarm based on VIP, alarm based on strangers. So in this case, you're having alarm on stranger where the person does not exist in the database. And also you can do AI search by face attributes, whether they had glasses, etc. So, okay. So how many face attributes? Up to 6. So remember there's something about glasses, age, facial expression, whether you can search whether to see, you can search information based on their facial expression, if the person was sad or happy, etc. So I said about the facial detection camera plus AI and VR face recognition. So you have face detection, capture the picture stream will go. Then the NVR will do modeling and do the facial recognition. So this picture stream here is the output for the FD camera. So if you see from this point here, maximum 16 channel support for picture stream. So this 16 channel is for the face detection camera. So this is how face recognition works with a face detection camera and an AI NVR camera. So it's at times it's good while saving on cost for purchasing products. So a normal camera and an AI face recognition camera. So because if for a face detection camera, it will detect the face and do a snapshot on the same, then it will send the picture stream. But for a normal camera, it's just a normal surveillance camera where you have just a video streaming. So you get a video stream. The NVR will capture the face side. So for this case, the face detection side will be done by the camera and capture the face. But for the normal camera, the NVR will only select the face, then do modeling, and then do facial recognition. So this one is even cheaper version. The face recognition mode. So the common mode will take the picture of someone, compare with the database, then the person, if they exist, it will do a recognition. If they don't, it will be a stranger side. So you can also do a face image search. So you can locate face within seconds. So can you do a search based on images? Do you think so? Where is the accuracy better? We are getting a question, why is the accuracy better? So the accuracy for this camera, the best would be, okay, you can see for this case, it has been indicated 95% for face recognition accuracy. So if you're using a normal camera with an AI NVR, so it's higher with the face detection camera because the processing and modeling will be done by the NVR side. So the accuracy is better, even better while doing a FR camera and a FR NVR. But generally, these values are good. Okay. Another function for the NVR will be perimeter protections. I think most of these functions are just repetition on what we talked before, because most of you guys know what perimeter protection is at the moment. So the perimeter protection in the AI NVR can be done based on tripwire, intrusion, etc. So it's just more of the same in the NVR. So the same way traditionally you do an IVS, if you upgrade to AI, you have high accuracy. So perimeter protection with AI about false alarm is reduced, complexity reduced, sorry, more of false alarms have been reduced. So if you're doing a perimeter protection with AI NVR, the accuracy is high, to 98%. Also considering the installation factors like proper installations to achieve better view. So about false alarm filter, focus on what you care. So there's a feature we talked about in our previous training on target filtering, where you can filter based on humans and vehicles. So with the AI NVR, you can do filtering on such information where you have a large data set, then you have target filtering. It's just like SMD for NVR, SMD for NVR. So I think maybe for the certification case, just know about the product naming rule for the NVR, and maybe what key technologies like perimeter protection are, what metadata information is. So can you have metadata attributes based on four categories, like if you're doing a metadata on vehicle, you can say which model, which color, etc. If you're doing metadata by humans, you can say, oh, the information is here below. For humans, if you're saying gender, age, expression, glasses, beard, mask, etc. For vehicles, you can say model, logo, plate color, etc. If non-humans, you can say which type, which color. So that's metadata, which is well supported in the AI NVR. So also advantage, you can do even a small search on metadata to refine your search while doing an investigation and query of information. So for face recognition, you can use AI NVR plus face detection or a common camera. For general, for face, also for face recognition, you can use a general NVR. That's just a normal NVR without AI and plus a face recognition camera. The same with the perimeter protection, you can have AI NVR or general NVR with a perimeter protection camera. So it's either way, you can have one of the devices supporting the AI function that you need to achieve. It's whether it's the NVR or the camera. So one of them at least has to have the functionality. So we talked about SMD plus. I'll not repeat on this side. So about also real-time alarm information. So the support for alarm push is about forwarding of alarms. So whereby in case an alarms occur on NVR, it will be forwarded on your phone, and you can be able to check. If you have DSS, you can do searching on metadata and refine search. For thermal solution, we talked about thermal in our last session. If you have a thermal body temperature solution, you need a thermal camera with IVSS or AI NVR. So both of them need to support AI. And also we do the version control, where you have specified version that will be able to do that specified project. The same way we have a different version of DSS Express. We have this DSS Express versions for thermal camera only solution. So the system is customized to do to put more resources and more performance into the thermal solution configuration. So for this case, I think if you just need the same way I talked about the thermal solution products, in case of a project, you can contact us, we'll help you do application on the same and suggest on the products. So I'll not dive into this part. So another metadata information we did is face mask detection. So we talked about people counting with the fisheye. Now at this point, we are having sorry, people counting with a special series camera. So at this point, we are having combining those products with the recorders. So we have people flow control solution in this case. I've been talking about this in the supermarket, bank, etc. Where you are counting the people, then you have analysis from this side. If you have alarms, so if you are doing management for queues in supermarket, if the threshold is met, like more people are in certain queue than the other, you can have alarms, etc. So you can have that solution with using NVR this series. You know, with Minify supports people counting, so you can have configuration for this case. So temperature monitoring solution with access controller. So again, these are some of the things that if you need to do them to have them achieved, you can contact us for the application on the same if you have clients on the same. So we have integration with the turnstile and NVR standalone access control with NVR etc. for temperature monitoring solutions.
And there will be more people there.
Okay, for general NVR series, so you talked about AI products. General NVR is more of monitoring. So general NVR is more of monitoring cases where you have DSS side display. So it's just about monitoring. So the family for the general NVR are six series. So without the AI, all of these don't have AI. So this one is a 6 series. So it depends number of channels and the number of hard disks. That's why it's 00. Then you have S2 and a 4K output. You have Pro NVR. Those are NVR 5 series. Light NVRs. Light NVRs, we have 4 and 2. Then we have entry level 1. So maybe just for the cases for exam purposes, you can be asked which series below is for the entry series, which is for high end. Yeah, it's not that hard. So for the general NVR family, we have entry level series supporting up to 8 Mbps. For the light, we have 80 up to 128 Mbps incoming. This is for the incoming. So like if you're doing 4 channels at 1080p at 30 frames per second, it's maximum of this. 384, you can do maximum of 16 channels at 2 megapixels at 30 FPS. So if you need to do more, you can work around with the number of megapixels and the number of frames per second to utilize on the bandwidth and have more devices. So for the light series, entry level series NVRs, they have a maximum support of up to 1 HDD, or else you can have the Ultra series supporting hard disk up to 16 terabytes. But for the cases when you need to have more storage, you can opt for the EVS storages. Okay, this is how they appear. Maybe you can check this information later. So for the Ultra series supporting Pro series support fisheye wrapping, thermal cameras. For series, you have a heat map, P2P. So the resolution up to 8 megapixels. So you can run up to 8 megapixels camera for this NVR 4 series. So NVR 5 supports up to cameras of 12 megapixels. NVR 6 support up to cameras of up to 12 megapixels resolution. I think most of this information I'll just skip on the same. So for the thermal cameras, again, I'll repeat, if you have the project cases now, we can do support on the same application on that. But for maybe perimeter protection or, yeah, we can do, if you have the case for such case you need, you can contact us. So people counting functions. So if they, so for people counting, you'll need to have a NVR supporting people counting. Okay, so most of the functions here are just more of repetition or emphasizing on what we already talked about. Like Panoramic, we already talked about this. So for recommendation of the products, maybe that's when you can contact us on the same. But at least you now know what function is what function, which can do what. So also for these cases, also you just contact us. So you also remember talked about the EPO technology where you have power of up to 300 meters. So for this case, it's 300 meters. But theoretically, it's 800 meters case. Also, we talked about this information before while doing training on NVR. So unless maybe you can just do a recap on the same, just go on our previous training, because most of this information is a repetition on what you already did. So also fisheye wrapping etc. That's what we already talked about. So maybe from next week we'll do our training on the EVS. I'll talk more about EVS because it was not mentioned before. Then I'll tell you about what EVS is, how you configure it, how do you connect it. So we'll begin it in our next week Friday session. On next week Friday, we'll meet at 11 again. So we'll do test 2 session next week, and I'll introduce the other technicians. So I think we can end our session for today at this point. So all the trainings are shared online. They'll be available on YouTube. So if you need to do a reference, you can access them on the same. We're working on giving you access to these files. Then maybe later we'll give you the full PDF versions and the PPT versions of it. So if there's no any other question or concern, we can end the session. And you guys can have a lovely weekend.